by Wanda, and her last name is something I can't pronounce, but I think it's Gog, G-A-G, Gog. And it goes something like this. Once upon a time, there was a very old man and a very old woman, and they lived in a very clean house with flowers all the way around except for the door. And they had a pretty perfect life, except they were very lonely. And one day, very old woman says, "Oh, if we only had a cat." And the very old man says, "A cat?" She says, "Yes, a fluffy, pretty cat that could play in my knitting yarn and keep us company all day long." And the husband says, "Well, I will get you a cat," because he's just like that. He just wants to make the very old woman happy. So he goes out the door and through the cool valleys and over the sunny hills until he comes to this hill that is covered with cats as far as the eye can see. Cats here, cats there, cats and kittens everywhere, hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. So he just doesn't even know where to start. But before long, he sees this beautiful black kitty with a white patch over her eye, and he thinks, that's the kitten I'm going to take home to my wife. So he picks her up, and he gets ready to take her home, but he turns around, and there's this adorable white fluffy kitty, and he thinks, well, she has to have that one too, so he picks that one too. And then over there's this pretty gray kitty with white paws, and he can't pass that one up either, so he picks that one up too. And then over under a tree, there was a cat with stripes like a little tiger, and he thought, well, she has to have that one. So before long, he's picked up as many cats as he can possibly hold, and he has a line of cats for miles and miles and miles behind him. Like, he can't pass up any of the cats. All the cats are coming to him. So they head for home, and they come on this beautiful lake, and all the cats go, meow, meow, we're so thirsty. And the very old man said, well, I've never seen such a pretty body of water. Everybody take a drink. So all the cats and kittens take one sip each, and the lake disappears. The lake is gone. That's how many cats there were. So they keep going, and before long they come to a hill covered with fresh green grass. And the cats go, meow, meow, we're hungry now. And the very old man said, well, there's plenty of fresh grass here. Take your pick. And every cat and kitten takes one bite of grass, and all the grass is gone off this hill. All of it. That's how many cats there were. So they keep going, and they go back through the cool valleys and over the sunny hills until the very old woman can see them coming. And she goes, oh dear. She said, I asked for one cat, and you brought me more cats than I can count. Cats here, cats there, cats and kittens everywhere, hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. How are we going to feed them? What are we going to do? And the very old man says, oh, I hadn't thought of that. He hadn't thought of that. What are we going to do? And the very old woman says, well, I know. We'll ask the cats, and they'll let them tell us which cat should stay with us. And so the very old man turns around and he says, okay, whoever is the prettiest cat can stay with us. Which of you is the prettiest cat? Well, I mean, paws were going up left and right, left and right. Everybody thought they were the prettiest cats, and they did not like that the other cats thought that they were the prettiest cats. And so after a while, there was a huge quarrel, and I mean fur flying everywhere. Gray fur, and black fur, and tiger stripe fur, I'm sorry to say, and white, and everything. And the very old man and the very old woman didn't like quarrels so much, so they ran in the house and hid because the screeching was terrible. And before long, they didn't hear anything, so they poked their heads out the window, and they could not see a single cat anywhere. Oh my, the very old woman said. She said they must have eaten each other up, because that would be my first thought. They must have eaten each other up. And she said, that's really too bad. And the very old man said, but look, and he pointed to a bunch of high grass in the yard, and there was a really scared little kitty sitting inside it. So they rushed out and they picked him up, and the very old man said, dear kitty, how is it that you're here when all the other cats have eaten each other up? They're gone. And the little kitten said, oh, I'm just a homely little kitty. So when you asked who was the prettiest cat, I didn't bother raising my hand. So everybody ignored me, and I'm here. So they were just happy that they had this, this kitty, as scraggly and not so pretty as he was. So they took him inside, and they brushed out his fur until it was shiny and fluffy, and they fed him all the milk that he could drink until he was fat and happy. And so later, as the cat played in the knitting yarn, just like the woman had always dreamed, she said, see, he's a pretty cat after all. And the husband said, he is the most beautiful cat I've ever seen in the world, and I should know. because I have seen hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats, and he is the prettiest of them all. And that is the story of how two people found their perfect cat. Although I would probably go